what to take away from this is just be aware of your emotional health. It's very easy to say, oh, you shouldn't isolate yourself from people and blah, 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 because you need people. It's easy to say that, and that's probably not always the best advice, but be aware of your emotional health. Another thing that was just really, really shocking about this is that the guy methodically waited, like methodically planned all of this. Like, he made the bombs. He probably planted the bombs before the people got into place, and it was very methodical, and he knew knew the moment when to set it off, and everyone was enthralled in the movie. Like, he was very methodical about this. I feel like, and this is not an argument for anything. I'm just presenting all of these facts, and then take what you will. This is what I take from it. I feel like in this society that we live in, we're desensitized to violence, and we really don't know how much it affects us, really, because even like Tom and Jerry, we see it everywhere. And I'm not saying that all the kids are going to go out and start throwing anvils at each other or anything like that. No, I'm just saying that violence and things, just various things in the media, you can become so desensitized to it that you don't realize how much of an effect it has on you. I'll give you another example. I'm not going to give you any names. One of my friends, sweetest girl ever, we were role playing together, and the plot line was, it was actually my character who was suicidal. What happened was that, well, I won't go into the plot or whatever, but she attempted to commit suicide. That's the point. Later, a week or two later, and I hadn't seen my friend in a while, and she came back, and she was like, I'm really sorry, I had attempted to commit suicide, blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about it, and it came up, the role play that we did. Now, I'm not saying that, what we did was like triggered her to do whatever, but just from a conversation, it was just like, we need to be more aware of the topics and the things that we expose ourselves to. Not because that's going to make you do things. I'm not saying that. We're all intelligent human beings here. We aren't, that susceptible to suggestion. But I will say that when you're emotionally distressed, you are more susceptible to suggestion. That's what, from this that just happened in Colorado with the example I just gave you, and another example, there was these two parents, this was maybe like a year or so ago. Basically, they literally sawed their child in half, and when asked why they did it, they said that they were acting out on a role play that they did. So, just all the examples that I'm giving you, I'm not saying that, we should stop, watching violent things because we're susceptible to la la la. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to be more aware of our emotional health and the things that affect us.
And I would agree. I think, and again, this isn't going to be a cure-all for everything, but I think at least one step of tackling a problem is having to acknowledge its existence. Because again, even with the examples you gave, you still have other people who do just what you go like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, I'm trying to remember. I think it was where a woman ended up drowning her kid, and I think one of the kids managed to save managed to get out of the car, but the rest of his siblings ended up dying or something. And you're going like, well, she was just crazy or anything, but you just want to leave it as crazy and just leave it as that without having to understand that there was like some mental issues that go beyond crazy. There has to be a way to acknowledge it and deal with it. And I don't think we kind of do that in our society. Among other things, that's one thing that doesn't get acknowledged, is like actually tackling on mental health instead of just packaging it in one corner and just leaving it to die in a corner.
Yeah, like we don't address mental health. We don't address mental health. We don't really address emotional health. That's one thing that I really took with me back from when I went to study abroad in Asia, was that in Asia they actually pay more attention to emotional health because one, it's a part of their culture, and two, I don't know if you know about Asian history, but they've had to go through a lot, so they actually have mental health as they actually have a sector for mental health in their culture. Like it's probably not as advanced, as say, well, I'm not even gonna say that either, but it's not like, I'm not sure how likely someone is in Asia to go to a psychiatrist. Say in America, like people are willing to go to psychiatrists, whatever. But the issue of mental health is actually more public in Asia than it is here. Here, it just sticks with a psychiatrist and a therapist. It's not really an issue. It's not really a public issue. And then what did you say? You said something like we were discussing another fandom, but basically it was just like, if you don't have people to check you, or if you don't have people around you.
Oh, it wasn't necessarily a fandom thing, but it was kind of like, after watching a few things like a few shows, I honestly kept seeing the constant theme over and over again. If you do not have people who care about you, not just having friends, but people who genuinely care about your well-being, bad things will happen to you. You will not, but more or less, you will more or less destroy your being, be it mentally or physically.
Or others.
So it's great. It goes beyond just having family or friends. Just anyone who gives a crap about you, your essence, your worth as a human being.
That's one of the main reasons why we're even having this conversation on this venue, is because, we're saying, oh yeah, this is a venue for fandom fields and blah blah blah, but like, a lot of the time, and a lot of people can attest for this, you don't feel like you can talk to your friends at school or your family. Sometimes all you can talk to is your fandom when you have issues and stuff like that.
Or like your role play partners. Again, I let you know this because I don't role play, but I do remember, like, there were stories. I don't remember them specifically, or it's not clicking in my head, but there are times where you just have people on your live journal who you can talk to because your family is inaccessible at that moment, and they have information that could help you in a situation. Or let's say that you're a gay teen and you can't confront your parents because they'll kick your ass out. So you have to go with other people to help you get information on what shelter you could go to, or how you could, if you decide to get emancipated, anything like that. People in fandom can help you where, again, your family may fail.
There was a good example. I'm not going to give any names. Something had happened to where everyone was role playing, and the Hitalia fandom part of Tumblr, and someone had gone missing, and they'd been missing for a while, or I can't remember. No, they didn't go missing, but basically they were role playing with someone, and their partner had noticed that they were like talking really, like they were kind of low when they left to go to bed that evening, and they were worried about them. So they posted something on Tumblr, and basically everybody on Tumblr, or basically everybody on Tumblr was reblogging it and giving information, and everyone started piecing together information. And we actually, what ended up happening was that someone basically collected all the numbers and whatnot, called the police. But they called the police where they were, and the police where they were sent policemen to the person where they are. I know it sounds really weird. Basically, we got them help. Even though everyone was far apart, whatever, we got them help. And I was really touched by it, because that was like the first time I had seen something like that, where everyone just gathered all their resources to help just this one person. it turned out okay. They're okay now, whatever. They're good now. But it's just like things would have turned out differently if that person hadn't decided to do what they did. And then the next person, who reblogged what they reblogged, and the next person, so on and so forth. I feel like that not just in fandom, but as human beings, we should be more open to accept responsibility for it. If that guy had some sort of support system like that, like what we had or what we were doing, then that probably would happen. So I'm not saying that you're responsible if your friend goes out and does something crazy. I'm not saying that either. We should take emotional health more seriously, and we should take more responsibility in protecting each other, I guess. And with this fandom thing that we're all doing now, we have a better venue for doing these kinds of things. Since you're in my fandom, you may not be in my fandom, but I know about your fandom. We talk, and I feel like that's a good and positive thing to go towards making the world a better place. Get really mushy. It's something small. It is by no means it's not a cure-all as Wannabee has been saying, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
It's like instead of stepping in mud, you just don't get messy boots. It's small things that make it easier for human beings to live a better, just a better day, let alone a better life.
But yeah, if you have any information on what's happening in Colorado, or if you were somehow involved, touched, by any means of the imagination, please just contact us. We are here for feels, all sorts of feels, including the more serious ones. So, by any means, if you need to talk to someone, we're definitely here. Definitely, if you have any more information, please use our submit box. We'll definitely get around to